It has finally happened. After months of Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau stoking a diplomatic showdown with India, a democratic ally, over who? A Hardeep Singh Nijjar, a man with criminal background and a designated terrorist by India. After basically telling for months, possibly years, that the pro-Khalistan elements can have a free run in Canada, the free fall or the consequence of it has now been seen on the 3rd of November in 2 locations in Canada. Armed with sticks and yellow flags of Khalistan, these aggressive men have gone charging at the Hindu Canadians and the Indian diaspora, beating them and assaulting them. So which were the 2 locations that witnessed disturbing instances all caught on camera? Brampton. Not surprising, we have reported extensively about pro-Khalistan activities, parades even celebrating former Prime Minister Indira Gandhi's assassination. Surrey, again in Canada, at the Lakshmi Narayan Temple, again. Not a new isolated name. It's the same temple where shots were fired in 2023 outside the residence of the head priest. Nearby in these areas at the temples, anonymous, though pro-Khalistan graffitis were seen. Different locations, but one thread: aggression and bias. Let's go one by one. You've seen the visuals of the pro-Khalistan mob and goons charging, beating, assaulting. What happened after the attack was even more disturbing. The cops did arrive on scene, but to do what? Pin down a teenager boy. 3 cops on 1 Hindu boy in Canada. While the men around him are pleading that this is wrong, he's a child, this cannot happen. The cops detained this boy and took him away in custody, not taking action against the mob that literally went on the rampage. In another location, cops are being questioned as they are recorded, charging at a group of Hindu Canadians, punching and hitting them. It is still the time that at least 1 or 2 cops are then eventually countered by those recording the video asking, why would you go and start to punch and hit these unarmed individuals who are simply standing outside their temple? What I did not understand was why in the first place was there a pro-Khalistan protest in front of a Hindu temple? What is the connect? What is the logic? What did the temple there in Canada or the Hindu community in Canada do to those agitating, and with such violence that they had to be at the receiving end of? So how did Canada's politicians respond to this? Prime Minister Justin Trudeau condemned the violence at the Hindu Sabha Mandir, but not a word, not one word, about who is clearly seen resorting to violence. Now, this was no anonymous attack. The goons are not in a mask or a cover. It's all on camera, but not a word mentioning the pro-Khalistan groups. Worse, the Canadian Prime Minister went on to thank the police force for a swift response. The same cops who are being questioned for the brutalities. Pierre Poilievre, aiming to become the next Prime Minister of Canada, he's a conservative leader, has been attending and interacting with the Indian diaspora and the Hindu Canadians over the years. One thought he may know better and behave better. But again, a similar statement from Pierre Poilievre too, condemning the violence against Hindu Canadians, but not a word against who indulged in that violence and who charged at the Hindu Canadians in his country. As we speak, only 2 leaders have dared to call spade a spade, and one of them is Kevin Wong. He's the Member of Parliament who did say that it was alarming to see an attack on Hindu Canadians from Khalistani extremists and terrorist cosplayers. One must appreciate the simple and straightforward statement by this Member of Parliament. Another one was Indian origin Chandra Arya. By all logic, this is the moment when the Hindu community in Canada needs the Canadian Prime Minister to feel safe and protected. Justin Trudeau may be seen wearing the sacred Hindu thread known as the Kalava on his wrist, or celebrating the festivals like Diwali, or doing bhangra in traditional Indian costume. But it won't be accepted for much longer if a culture of silence continues instead over such violent actions. The Hindu Canadians are watching, the Indian diaspora is watching, and Indians are watching very carefully about how this specific incident is picked here on by the leaders, by the law enforcement agencies, and the world at large.